Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to Trader Merlin Show for your Friday edition. And this is going to be the last one for a week. Unless there's some crazy surprise and I end up doing a show for you guys next week, which I'll be on the road, laptop, probably not going to happen. But anyway, we'll do our best to have a fun show today. So cheers, everybody. Happy Friday. Hope you did something fun today and had some nice trades on. It was pretty volatile. The MicroStrategy stuff, I'll walk you through what happened with the MicroStrategy with my SMCI and tell you how those trades panned out, as well as just some of the highlights for the week. So I like the jacket too, but I like this one. You guys made fun of my Five Below shirts. There you go. This is as jolly as I get for Christmas. There you go. This is my holiday shirt. Yeah, I actually have it's a three-piece suit, or it's a two-piece suit, and also I have a blue one as well. But the problem is everyone calls me Snowflake, which, start to get a little bit of. And no, Margaret, this was not a $5 jacket. Just the t-shirt. Just the t-shirt. All right, let's dive into our trading week wrap-up. Obviously, I guess the big news of the day today, which I think caused a little bit of market rejoice, was economic data. That, of course, was that core PCE price index data, which I will bring up for you right now. And when you look at the core PCE, obviously we had a little bit higher CPI and PPI numbers, which I think had some people feeling like more inflation was coming, and I was one of those people. And today, not only did we see it meet expectations, but fall even more than expectations. So you had a 0.3% previous number. They expected to be 0.2. I actually thought it'd be higher than 0.2. Thought we'd stay at 0.3. We came out at 0.1. Now, it is only 1 point data. However, it's good to see this trick down. And of course, the lower this goes, the more room to play the FOMC has. We are cutting rates right now. The expectation is that we are going to stop cutting rates here shortly. That's what kind of the news was put out at the press conference on Wednesday. Thursday, I think the markets were kind of feeling that and expecting, the gravy train's going to stop. We're not going to see rates cut anymore. Now we have a much lower print than expected on our inflation data, which of course now the Fed can potentially start to lower rates even more if they want, right? Juice this market even more as they have been. So all in all, I think this is very good news for your markets, those who are bullish on the market. And we'll see if this influences the FOMC rate adjustments coming in the future. Now, we talked about this with Bill Addis the other day, and I will bring it up for you again right here. Where is it? My Fed Funds Watch tool to see if anything has changed over the last 24 hours. And as you can see here, there still is a significant expectation of no more rate cut at the next meeting. That means January 29th, no rate cut expected. But I'm curious what the expectations are for the end of the year. Of course, that is a full 365 days out, actually a little bit less than that. December 10th, right now the expectations are a 36% chance of only one cut all of next year. All right, that's what the markets are pricing in. Of course, the dot plot actually priced in 3 for the end of next year, but I don't know. I'm not really that concerned about it. I just think that they're going to start to stop here, and we'll see more inflation data come through. If the inflation data does get better and we start to see better economic data, the Fed certainly has a lot more room to play with regards to their rates. Now, Margaret asked, do I wear that out? I wear it out, yep. I should take a picture of my suit assortment for you guys, because I have a collection of very bizarre, strange suits that you go, who the hell's that guy? Nah, with me. I'm that guy. So I will be wearing this this weekend. Going to some little holiday festivities. I'll be wearing the full suit with the pants, some nice shoes. Dress up for a fancy cocktail party dressed in my little snowflake suit here. Just don't call me Snowflake. Liz says, gives the Fed a reason to flip-flop on their thinking yet again at the January meeting. Totally. And I think that's the curiosity that will happen. We just don't know. We just don't know. The more wiggle room they have, the more uncertainty I think the market has. But bottom line is it does clue us into a more robust market. I think it might be a little bit of one-off data. I don't think that inflation numbers are really dropping that quickly. However, when we look at some other factors, remember, these are not the major pieces to inflation, but looking at the prices of commodities, some of them have been on absolute tears to the upside. There's your orange juice ripping, while others have been screaming to the downside. Here's your soybean futures are tanking. Your corn, actually corn's on the way up. Cotton was sinking and going lower and lower. Meat going higher. Sugar for the last couple of months has been on a pretty significant decline. You've got wheat also, near some lows here. Coffee, that one's moving up. So you got orange juice and coffee. Your breakfast staples, orange juice, coffee, and chocolate hitting highs while the other stuff is getting lower and lower and lower. So not too shabby here on the commodity front. If you look at some of the metals as well, obviously copper is that industrial metal where a lot of people look at copper as a leader of the Dow Jones Industrial Average, and notice that copper has been selling off since September, right, getting weaker and weaker. And of course, we've seen the Dow Jones Industrial Average was trending nicely, but all of a sudden, over the past couple of weeks, just giving back a lot of gains. So I've had several guests on the program in the past that have been very, very focused on the price of copper and use that as their economic growth indicator, right? Some people are looking at the inflation, jobs, GDP. This guy would look at just copper. Not just, but that was one of that he threw into his mix of being very important for him to understand what's the future hold. And that chart of copper, I'll be honest, does not look very good. Let me bring back up my HG futures chart here. Where is it? HG. It's above the crypto. And metals. My goodness. There it is. HG. So really, for the better part of this year, since May, copper's been just showing weakness. Now this, I attribute this to many different things. For example, a lot of plumbing is done in copper. And the expectations are that if we have economic growth and jobs and more housing construction, then you're going to have more copper consumption in those homes. And I think people in this room right now are actually, some people here have worked in constructions, and you probably have seen a transition here lately, in my opinion. Because copper, when I was younger, that was what all the pipes were copper. Well, I guess they used to be cast iron, and then they moved to copper. Now you have PTEX, which is plastic. So it's kind of like the electric vehicle is impacting, the regular automotive industry. It's slow, but it is having an impact on overall vehicle sales from combustion engines. And I look at this PTEX revolution, which is plastic. I think that's taking away some of the market share of copper. So maybe copper isn't as in demand because of new materials innovations. Yep, Steve Wolf says right there, most plumbing is being switched to plastic PEX pipe. I call it PTEX, but yeah, it's PEX pipe. Yeah, and that was my point here is you have this historical, you've all seen it in some aspect of your lives where you've always looked at this as your indicator, or this is the way that things were done, and all of a sudden some new technology comes in and says, you know what, we're going to now do it this way. For me, it was the rotary phone, I guess, but yeah, plumbing, copper may be on the way out is that home piece. And I like that comment there from Lisa, because I think most people do. It's like, oh, I think of housing, I think of copper. Yeah, plumbing and also wiring. Certainly electrical is the mainstay. And for now, we're not switching away from copper wires in homes. Not yet. Who knows? There might be some better conductive material we discover down the road. But for right now, yeah, absolutely. Copper is still used for electricity and wiring, but the plumbing side has got to be diminished significantly. I wish I had charts on consumption within the industries to see, how much plumbing in the homes now are copper versus PEX, that plastic tubing. Yeah, it is totally easier. What is it called? My dad taught me this when I was younger. My dad was a pretty handy man, realtor, but also built his own home. And I think when you put two joints together in copper, you sweat the seal, right? You have to heat it up and you drop the copper in there and you just kind of sweat it. So much easier with PEX. You basically just screw it in and you're pretty much done. Easy to replace, etc. And it has some more flex to it. Let's see. Copper used in electronics as well. Yep, it is. It's interesting because you have copper, you have some silver, you also have some gold, but not as much gold, obviously, because of the cost. But yeah, copper, you solder it in. Solder that sweat the seals, what my uncle used to call it. He was a plumber. Anyway, I don't know how we got on that topic. We were talking about inflation and kind of the big pieces facing our market right now. All in all, the numbers today, that data looked great. I mean, this is a very positive number to have come out at 0.1. We'll see what happens in January. Give it a few months to see if this trend continues. But, yeah, I definitely like the way that data came out today. Now, on other fronts, we had that 10-year sell-off just a little bit today. Nothing dramatic. A friend of mine messaged me today, and he goes, check out that harami on the 10-year yield. I'm like, I know. It definitely is a harami formation. Although, if you're a pure technical person, for those of you who don't know what a harami is, it's where you have a big run-up like we see here, and then you have a candle which kind of hesitates that fits inside the real body of the previous day. That would be this green bar here that my cursor's running over. Well, there is a tail on today's candle that goes outside of that range, so technically it's not a bearish Harami, but whatever. We'll just call it a bearish signal anyway for that 10-year yield. Your dollar index also had a little bit of a reprieve. This is actually an engulfing pattern, which is a true engulfing pattern. Completely eats yesterday's price trading. So those are some nice reversal pictures from macroeconomic side of things. And then I'll run through our markets. Bitcoin had a little bit of a bounce today, but nothing that great. 0.1% bump up. You'll notice, though, I had mapped out this zone here, right, which obviously is a very wide zone. That was that $100,000 range down to 92. And we were identifying two areas of potential buy point here on Bitcoin. First one was going to be in that 92 spot, and then I mentioned that I don't believe it's going to go any lower than 88, which is really 87, which is really this kind of area of consolidation from back in November, mid-November, before we broke out and attacked 100. So happy to see this because you guys know this is one of my favorite patterns right here. This is called a hammer formation, and it came after a sharp pullback in price. We can add on volume here to see if it was much higher than normal, but not really. Nothing to speak of there. Let's go to a spot market and see if the volume looks different. Remember, futures markets can be a little bit skewed. There you go. So if we look at Bitfinex, look at the volume on today's trading. You've got a hammer formation on much higher than normal volume. This is one where you just got to go, as a trader, as someone looks at this type technical analysis all day long, this is one of those ones you're just kind of nodding your head and you're going, oh yeah, this looks good. Right on here, we're ready for a bounce. So optimistic that we could see a nice little bounce this weekend, because remember, crypto does not sleep. Every other market does. Let's see, back to my top of the list here so I can run through all these. NASDAQ, you had a 0.88% gain today, but what was noticeable for me with NASDAQ today was just the sheer volatility. It was all over the place as far as a range goes. From the bottom to the top, as far as a percentage range move, you had 3.84% swings from bottom to top, and it was, again, bouncing all over the place. Margaret says, how many places does Bitcoin trade? Hundreds of places. Let me give you a real quick thing here. If you go to a website like CoinMarketCap, so CoinMarketCap is a good resource for you, those of you looking for anything data related for crypto. If you click up here on exchanges, here we go. There are 772 exchanges around the world. So that means that pretty much Bitcoin is going to be the main denominator or main tradable pair on every one of those markets. So I'd say, in my mind, there's got to be well over 700 active markets where you can trade Bitcoin. And that's a problem because in those markets, you got to figure out which one has the most liquidity. Another way we can find that out is by looking at CoinMarketCap here. I'll click on Bitcoin, and you can see in the last 24 hours, it's done over $100 billion. I mean, this is no chump change. I mean, this is pretty active. Bitcoin, I can click on that and get some of the details about it so I know what it is, what it does. If I click on markets up here, it'll tell you where it's traded the most. So Binance is some of the most liquid places. Coinbase is actually fairly liquid as well. It had $2 billion traded last 24 hours on Coinbase. Kraken, I talk about this so much. I love Kraken as an exchange for crypto, but if you're an active trader, you got to understand liquidity is a factor. Can you guys see right here? Oh, it's unfortunately not going to let me highlight it without taking me off the page. Coinbase has $2 billion in the last 24 hours traded on Bitcoin USD. Kraken has 298 million, right? So 1/10, just over 1/10, about 1/11th of the volume of Coinbase. So these are fragmented markets. You can see the number one place right now is going to be on Binance, which has like 3.7 billion against the USD, and then Tether has got about 6 billion. So we can scroll through here and find the liquidity. Anyway, little side shoot there to find out about the market. So a lot of different places where Bitcoin is traded, and that for me is one of the main problems. You don't have centralized liquidity. I like centralized liquidity. All right, so we had a ton of volatility in the NASDAQ today. Gold up a little bit. Are we that concerned about it? Why does this chart look totally different here? Oh, that's right, because we were talking about staying in it until it breaks out of this range. It actually broke out of the range, hit this last supply level at 27.50, and then came right back down. So I can get rid of that yellow box now. We don't need that one. And I will erase all artwork, all graphics on my chart disappear at the end of the year. I don't know why I do it, but I'm just going to erase everything at the end of the year. I thought you said Trump change. No, maybe chump change. Maybe chump change. S&P, fourth place finisher on the day. Nice little about face here for the S&P, but again, a lot of volatility. I mean, you had some pretty significant swings going on today, which, of course, made for some great trading opportunities. It allowed me to get some really good premium on some of my options. I think some of you probably sold some options today as well. That was up 1.14%. Dollar index we already looked at. Let's see. There we go. Russell 2000. Even though it had an up day, wasn't as exciting, in my opinion, as the NASDAQ or the S&P. Russell was okay, had some decent swings, but only up 1% on the day. And then your top finisher here, which we looked at, was gold, 1.42%. So that's your swing for the day. Pretty good, pretty active stuff. Bitcoin and some of the other cryptocurrencies were very, very volatile. But again, that's coming off the heels of a very intense day yesterday as well. Now, let me go into... wrap up some of my trades. So two of those will be put to me. Actually, was SMCI? So no. So I won't get my SMCI, but I did get my MSTR. So I had two put positions on MicroStrategy. I had the 340s, which of course are going to expire worthless, and I had the 370s, which I got a lot more premium for, but of course there's a lot more risk. And now I am an owner of some MicroStrategy at 370, which of course right now is underwater because it's trading at 365. So technically, this would be a loser. I collected $11 on the initial MicroStrategy sale, so my break-even point for this one would be 359. So I'm still okay. Now, I did go ahead and sell the 370s. Let me put on the 370s here. And I think that was $14. I'm not sure. I can't remember off the top of my head. It's a different account that I don't have on my phone. So I sold the 370 strikes. That's the same strike price that I sold the puts at, right? So it's right where I'd be executed at. If it closes above that by next Friday, I will have kept the $11 for last week's options, and then I'll keep the $14 for the upcoming week option, which would make for $26 worth of premium over the course of a little over a week and a half, and we'll see how that trade pans out. Yeah, 370 for next week, Lisa. We were ripping up today. I was kind of like wanting to sell a higher strike price, but then I was like, I just feel like there's a lot of negative press popping up on MicroStrategy right now, and I'm a little concerned that you're going to get a sharp spike down. It is one of the most heavily shorted, let me take that back. It is a very heavily shorted security right now, and that obviously makes me feel bullish on it. The more shorted something like MicroStrategy is, the more likely a short squeeze is going to come and pop into play and rip those short squeezers out of the way. But I don't know. I'm a little nervous just on MicroStrategy, period. Easy to get addicted to selling puts on MicroStrategy, do the premiums. Heck yeah, it is. And that's a challenge. So I'm in one account. I'm like, okay, I can trade Super Microcomputer and MicroStrategy in that account, and those rates of return have been really good. But you're playing with fire, with the 11 and 14 premiums. What'd you say there, Steve? What kind of percentage is that? So the $11 you just divide, Take 11 and divide it by 300 and take 11 and divide that by 370, and then you can do the same thing. Take 14 divided by 370. So let me get you your rate of return here, so you can figure out what those rates of return are per week. So let's go 14 divided by 370. That's 3.7% rate of return for a week. So not crazy amazing, but still not bad. What was the comment that was made on there? The easy to get addicted, Liz? Is that the one you're commenting on? It is. It's the premium is so good, you just got to know you're playing with something very dangerous, which is why I'm not putting all my capital in MicroStrategy. I've got other stuff in play right now, safer trades. But when markets are ripping to the upside like this, it's easy to jump into, it's harder to find things in pain point, Selloff. So I've had the Nike out there. I've had a couple of the Qs. I've been wanting to get silver, but I have not, just because silver just hasn't given me the premium I wanted for the rate of return. Which platform do I trade options? Several, but in my longer term accounts, believe it or not, it's Schwab and E-Trade. I do, you can use Thinkorswim on Schwab. E-Trade, I just had this account forever, and it's just kind of been sitting there and just turned into my one of my bigger options trading accounts. So I do E-Trade and Charles Schwab are the predominant two. I know it sounds silly. I didn't get my 350s, but I sold more 350s for next week and already in the 360s for next week. It's easy to make, it's easy to make $1,000 per contract in MicroStrategy. It is easy, but remember, Bonnie, as enticing as that $1,000 is for a week, if this thing rips against you, you're going to be left with your jaw hanging going, oh my God, what happened, right? And with something like Bitcoin, that can happen fairly quickly. Yesterday, I really wanted to sell a whole bunch more. I ended up selling them today just because I wanted to make sure my positions were at the end of the day. So these are right near the end of the day where I made these trades today. But when Bitcoin started selling off like that, anyone who's a holder of MicroStrategy, you kind of pucker up a little bit because this sell-off that happened in Bitcoin, you've got to ask yourself, does this trigger a catalyst snowflake event or snowfall event where all of a sudden everybody panics and they just start dumping? And very easily, Bitcoin could have plummeted much, much, much more. So if that happens, your MicroStrategy you're going to get blown out, right? So this is why I don't put all my eggs in that basket. The most I'll be trading at any one time in these accounts is going to be 10. So I won't trade any more than 10 in these accounts. 6 has kind of been the most I've had for the past couple of weeks on MicroStrategy. But again, that's pretty dangerous. Depending on your risk tolerance as well. If you a couple days ago you could have sold when we were at 360 on MicroStrategy. I'll bring up that chart here for you guys. I believe this was on Tuesday. We were back here when we were up in that 360 mark, 370 mark. This is Wednesday, so it was on Wednesday. You could have sold the $300 strikes and collected about 1.5% premium. And now that may not seem like a lot, but to go from 360, I remember it was like 365 when we looked at these. To fall all the way down to 300, you're looking at an 18% slide. Now, for most markets, 18% in a week seems inconceivable. Not for MicroStrategy. If you want a good representation of that, look at the weekly chart of MicroStrategy. This week from peak to where we closed at was a 14% slide. To the low point, MicroStrategy fell 25% this week. So it can happen very, 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 very easily. But then you just sell covered calls against it. Correct. Yep. And as the room is mentioned here, yes, MicroStrategy is leveraged Bitcoin. Definitely leveraged Bitcoin. And here's the thing with me. I'm doing a lot more with MicroStrategy because, as you guys know, I'm a believer in Bitcoin. I do believe that there's going to be very positive upside moves in Bitcoin over the next year. All those dominoes are lining up from a political perspective, from a regulatory perspective that say, okay, Bitcoin should have a much bigger run. Therefore, if I'm selling these 370s or the 340s or the 300s on MicroStrategy and I get put those, I really don't care. I'm totally fine with it because I will sell calls against it. And if Bitcoin does what I'm pretty sure it's going to do, MicroStrategy will recoup that. The only thing that would wipe me out is if MicroStrategy turns out to be a fraud. If there's some kind of accounting irregularity or Michael Saylor turns out to be some Ponzi. That's really the only thing I think that would blow anybody out if you're holding MicroStrategy and put those shares. And Lori says, that's why I'm not afraid to own MicroStrategy and sell calls. Right. I'm not either because I don't believe it is a scam. I don't believe Michael Saylor could be that publicly open and on all these different TV platforms so frequently and be a shyster. He might be. But I'm looking at it as a small probability of that being the case. So I'm fine owning MicroStrategy. I just have to know, and I want to warn everybody here, if you are in MicroStrategy, you have to be prepared for like 10, 15, 20% down days because this is a leveraged Bitcoin instrument and you could feel some pain real quick. So what I don't want to do is, be showing these trades. It always makes me apprehensive about showing people my trades because they jump on the same things I'm doing often. And I don't want you to freak out if you're left, underwater significantly on these positions because it can't happen. Just keep selling those calls against it. It's your strike price you bought at. The good news with MicroStrategy is if you were filled at 370 and it's now at 300, you can still get great premium at 370. That's how volatile it is. That fat Sam kid blew everything up. Are you talking about Sam Bankman-Fried? Sam Bankrupt-Fried? Merlin, do you ever sell at the money puts? I was tempted to sell the 480s. Yeah, I do. We did it last week. I think I told you guys about that. I sold the 377.50s on MicroStrategy. The premium was off the charts. It was like $28 for 3 or 4 days. I mean, awesome rate of return. Phenomenal rate of return. But I don't usually sell at the money unless I'm pretty confident things are going to go one way. I had looked at MicroStrategy yesterday as it was selling off, and I'm like, pretty sure we're going to bottom out here. Right? We came into a level on Bitcoin where I was like, we should bounce here. You know, shoulda, coulda, woulda. It would have been a good time to buy at the money or sell at the money puts on MicroStrategy, expecting it to bounce, but I didn't. But sometimes I do. There you go. Scam, Bankman, fraud. I wonder if they should put them all in the same room. They should put Sam Bankman fraud, Mashinsky, Do Kwon, and put them all in the same room. Let them all beat each other up and share their lack of wealth. Let's see. What did John say? You guys are hilarious. The comments keep me going. The comments definitely keep me going. So that is 2 of the trades. I didn't actually look at my Nike trade. Remember, I had the $70 puts on this one, but that we're totally fine there. Clear on my Nike. That was a monthly trade, so I had sold Nike back here. I believe. No, this is weekly. Hold on a sec. I had that Nike trade on a monthly option, so it was back here sometime when we were down in the 70s. Got some great premium. We'll talk the Hawk Tua token, huh? We'll talk that Hawk Tua token. So there was a rumor last night that the Hawk Tua girl committed suicide, which obviously no one wants to see. Look, this is some Midwest girl who just got instant stardom, instant celebrity, instant fame. She's fun, whatever. Unfortunately, people take advantage of that. She did not kill herself. I guess she posted this morning because there's lawsuits galore coming after her. The sad part is, it's like the NBA or any professional sport, right? Let's say that Steve and I are on the court. We're on opposing teams, and Steve punches me in the gut as hard as he can, and I retaliate with a nice right hook and I clock him in the jaw. I'm the one who gets caught. It's always the one, and I'm going to get like the full repercussions of that. Steve's going to walk away. Well, the NBA look at the replays. But the point is, she is a patsy in this. She doesn't know what she's doing with regards to cryptocurrency. Somebody approached her and offered her a boatload of money to just call it the Hawk Tua coin, and all you have to do is go into Twitter space and talk about it. And she's like, right on, okay, let's do it. She's having fun, and good for her. Sadly, she could face serious penalties here and potential jail time. The reality is, the people that perpetrated this rug pull are going to walk away. Now, I hope that they do get busted. They're named in the lawsuit, so there's a bunch of lawsuits being thrown at them right now. Hopefully, what we get in 2025 is some legal framework that says this type of thing, if you do it, you're going to jail, period. And lead by example. And this may be that example. Right? This may be that example where they make a poster child out of her and say, look, anybody else want to do this? You want to use a celebrity or someone to shill your coin and rug pull people and steal millions of dollars? You're going to prison. I personally think that's what we need in the industry, not necessarily with this situation, but people need to go to jail for this. People need to be punished for scamming people with crypto. Again, I believe it gives the whole industry a bad name. There's plenty of good stuff in this industry, and then you get these charlatans like that. So this is the same with Kim Kardashian. Oh yeah, there's a bunch of just absolute losers. I think the damage that the Kardashians have done to women's self-esteem and the ability to feel like you're a woman is just incredible. I don't know what the ladies in the room feel like, but man, I'm embarrassed that we've let these Kardashians get as big as they have in society. Like, I don't know how you can watch that garbage. It makes every woman insecure about themselves. Feel like they go get a lip job, a boob job, a butt job, and just they have to spend all this money on their appearance. Just be a good person. You're more beautiful as a good person. Anyway, sorry, my rant's over. I'm going to get some hate mail on that one. All the Kardashian fans in the room are going to be like, we're never listening to you again. Yeah, good. I think that's why we all get along. Yeah, they're one disgusting family from top to bottom, right? I agree, Margaret. I like families that, bring value to society and help things. The Irwins, right? Remember the crocodile hunter? Like, that guy was a good, wholesome person. He out educating and being a good, fun, entertaining person, not someone that makes people feel bad about themselves. Okay, what else do we want to talk about today? Anything else you guys want to throw at me? You got I guess you got to virtually throw at me, not literally, because you can't really reach me from there. I'm trying to think of other things that were pretty big highlights for this week. Really no other trades other than the MicroStrategy. I did an SPY in a separate account, which that was a short puts on that one as well, but that's not that important. I'm trying to think of anything that's exciting for you guys. I really wanted to do SLV. I mean, I want to get back into silver, but you see what's going on with SLV and gold. You had it tanking. It's just the premium was not good enough. Even though it feels like we came out of this head and shoulders pattern, right? You've got this big head and shoulders pattern right here. Left shoulder, right shoulder, head, and now it feels like we're breaking down. Just the premium wasn't there. I feel like there wasn't enough money in that, so I decided to stay away from that one. What about Trump coin, Liberty something? Isn't that something like the Hawk Tua coin? So the World Liberty Financial, and again, I'm being objective here, people. I don't want anyone to accuse me of being a Trump hater or whatever. It has nothing to do with that. The coin, at face value for what it is right now, is a fraud. It's a scam. There's just they have no development. They have built nothing. They're just saying, we're going to create the greatest thing in the planet, in the financial markets, and buy our coin. Which, by the way, when you buy this coin, you cannot do anything with it. You can't do anything with it but vote. It's a governance coin. If you can't vote, if your sole utility of buying World Liberty Financial, the Trump coin, is that you get to have a say in what happens in the community, okay, that's fine. But Trump and his family have a majority of the coins. So even if you get to vote, it doesn't matter because they have over 51%. So they can make whatever they want happen. So yeah, it's a scam. And you can never sell it. So rug pull, stay away. You're better off buying his shoes. He's got shoes now too. Man, the guy's got everything. So yeah, I wouldn't touch it. Now, one of my students in the crypto program yesterday mentioned that they are partnering with some other legitimate firm that's going to do the back end for them. And maybe they do build it into something at some point. But on paper, World Liberty Financial right now is a rug pull in my opinion. I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. I would encourage you guys to please stay away from it. Maybe my attitude will change once development happens, if they actually build something. But remember, what are they trying to build? Can anybody in here tell me what exactly World Liberty Financial is trying to build? What is it? I mean, if you look at their webpage, it says it's the greatest thing in financial markets. I'll bring it up here so you guys can see it. There's worldlibertyfinancial.com. Shaping a new era of finance. Be defiant. It's very catchy. I really like that. That's nice. We're leading a financial revolution by dismantling the stranglehold of traditional financial institutions and putting the power back where it belongs, in your hands. Now, hold on a sec. You're the leader of the free world, and you're telling me, screw banks. We don't need JP Morgan. Let's get rid of Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and Trump coin will be the piece that leads you to the promised land? I'm seeing a conflict of interest here. I don't know about you. Seems like a little bit of a conflict of interest. And it's going to be huge. We scroll down here, and what is it that they're trying to do? Well, what they're trying to do, if you read through everything, they're trying to create a financial portal that's DeFi. DeFi means it's not controlled by any one entity. It also will most likely allow you to connect to it without registration. It should, which means no ID, anything like that. That's typical DeFi. But what they're saying is you can now deposit your crypto and you can lend it, you can borrow, you can stake it, you can earn. Well, if you look out here and look at a site like Aave. Aave is one of the leaders in the DeFi lending protocol spaces. You can click here and open the app. And I can go out here and I can borrow, I can lend, I can earn all these different rates of return. So what you're telling me, and by the way, Aave is one entity. You could use MakerDAO. You could use Curve. You could use, I already mentioned Aave. There are hundreds of these types of financial portals in the DeFi space. But for some reason, Trump thinks that his will be the biggest, the best, which has got it has no developers. It's got nothing built. There's nothing there yet. And the people that the people that are building World Liberty Financial built a company before called Dough, D-O-U-G-H .finance, I believe. I think it was Dough.finance. And now this is what Dough.finance webpage is. It's no longer there. It's gone. They went belly up because there was a hack and millions of dollars was stolen from Dough.finance. And the developers of Dough.finance are the ones that came to Trump with the idea of World Liberty Financial. So if you're a bloodhound here, you've got your Sherlock Holmes hat on, Watson. You read this and you say, something smells fishy with this. I think I'll stay away. Or if you're a bloodhound, you're like, this stinks. Something's bad about this project. So yeah, I wouldn't touch it. Now, if they do show a website, if they actually get a product, they start building something, all right, fine. But you still got to compete with all these other firms that are with billions of dollars under asset management, right? Aave, I don't know exactly how much. It may say on their front page. Let's see. Let's go AUM. Typically, these sites will show like how much assets under management. Let's go to MakerDAO. So here's MakerDAO. This is an unbiased global financial system. I mean, these guys have been around for quite some time. Yeah, it was stolen, Steve. It was stolen. I don't know, Margaret, what Sherlock Holmes' hat was called. Let's see. They changed it to Sky Money is what they call it. That's what MakerDAO is now. But this is the same basic portal as Aave. We'll launch the app. These guys have $13 billion locked into the protocol right now. That's $13 billion that's being lent, borrowed. You know, there's certainly money to be made here. But it's just kind of crazy that, you know, Trump thinks that his is going to be the greatest thing ever, and they have nothing. They literally have nothing developed to show anybody. But these projects are already existing today. So anyway, I'll get off my soapbox. Apologize for that one. What do we got here? What was Sherlock? I don't know what Sherlock Holmes hat is. I want to know that one. Let's see. This all sounds totally above board. Yeah, right, Liz? What could possibly go wrong? And, you know, again, I know that this comes across as me being anti-Trump. I'm not. You know, if I looked at it and this was a legitimate project, I'd be going, nice. I might even invest in it. You know, I do this exercise with my students in the crypto program, and I know some of you are part of that program, and I appreciate that, where I have a checklist, and I have like 30 different things on that list. And anytime you analyze a crypto project, and I'll make it more generic, anytime you analyze anything, whether it's a stock, future option, commodity, any investment, you've got to ask yourself objectively questions, as opposed to Kramer said to buy it, therefore I'm going to buy it. Or even as simple as Kramer said to buy it, I'm going to short it. You got to do your research. So this list of, like I say, 30, maybe even more, is pretty basic, but it's like, what is this project trying to accomplish? Is there competition? Who's invested in it? Are there any large holders? Is there any, vesting periods? You know, how are the tokens distributed? Who owns what? And when I run through that list and look at World Liberty Financial, it's a red flag all across the board. On a scale of 1 to 10, I would say World Liberty Financial would be a solid 1. That's the lowest ranking I could give it. Now, if you look at something like Aave does have overconcentration because of the community in certain wallets. I know exactly what they're trying to do. I can explore and play on their site and check it out. Aave, for me, would probably be a 7. I used to own Aave. I sold it and jumped into something else, but I may have had that at Celsius, but I like Aave. So, what do we got here? Merlin just got some crypto coins back from Cryptopia. Nice. They got hacked, I think, 2019 and shut down the exchange. They went bankrupt. I thought I would not get that back, but that's a good... Hey, Eddie, it's always nice when you get something back from those things. I know there's some people in here as well who got hosed on Celsius, Voyager, and BlockFi, and, you know, obviously I'm upset because I did lose quite a bit of money, but when I got something back, I was like, hallelujah. And, you know, it's interesting because all of them, even though I got fractions, pennies on the dollar back, the gains we've experienced over the last few months have now put me back into positive territory, even though I lost like 75 to 80% of all the holdings. So just wonder where I would be if I had all my original crypto. It'd be a totally different world. Let's see. If it all goes belly up and he's in trouble with the law, he can always pardon himself. Yeah, that's pretty funny. That is pretty funny. We'll see. I'm surprised. I think that this is probably one of the worst ventures that he's done. You can look at Truth Social and DJT. Fine, that's okay. It's a legit project. You can actually go and be a member of DJT. I just don't think anybody's really using it. So that's what kept me away from it. But this World Liberty Financial, what a crock. Let's go look at DJT. All right, still up at $35. I'm surprised. Surprised it's still up there. Even after having won the election, it had that nice surge up to about 55 and is dropping since then. By the way, he took, I believe, $4 billion worth of shares of DJT and moved that into a trust, because a lot of people are saying this would be a conflict of interest for him when he becomes president. The irony, and this is where it's just so stupid, just that the details are so dumb, but Donald Trump still owns it. What he did is he put it into a trust, and his son is now heading up the whole thing. His son can manage it and do whatever he wants. So Donald Trump said he would never sell a share of DJT, and now he can honor that because he no longer controls that $4 billion worth of DJT. It's now in the trust, and his son can do whatever he wants with it. Remember, it's past the vesting period, so he can now sell those tokens, or sell those shares, So keep your eye on DJT. You may have a lot of liquidity coming into the market here over the next few months as his son, my guess would be, starts to unload this and diversify their holdings, which he should. Correctly, yeah, exactly, retired Jim. Now he doesn't directly own it. Because it's in the trust, his name is no longer on it. He actually owns zero now, so he can't sell it. Therefore, he never broke his promise. Smart move. Very, very smart move. But he did this the first time in office, correct. There's no difference, Lisa. It's just moving the chips somewhere that conform with the law. So, it's no longer his. Yeah, we'll just put it in a trust. I'll have my son run it, and my son is going to, everything's mine still, but my son's name is on it, right? It's kind of like my dad, if he wanted to shelter money, he would just put my name on it, and I would pay him out from the trust, whatever, until he passed on, and I got it all. There you go. 500,000 people use it, about 200,000 messages a day. X has 200,000 an hour. Wow. That's pretty telling right there. 200 messages a day and 200,000 an hour on Twitter. Crazy. I mean, and to me, that's where the value is. If you look at the value right now of DJT, personally, I think it's going to slowly trickle down. Trump's back on Twitter. He's not even using this. It's back on Twitter. So this, to me, is going to start to lose more value. What's the current market cap of this? Let me see real quick what the current market cap of DJT is. $7 billion, right? $7 billion. And you're telling me that X, let's just do a simple math calculation here, right? The calculation would be if 200,000 messages are happening a day on Truth Social and 200,000 are happening an hour on X, then that's a 24x multiplier. So what would we do if we just took that I actually had it up here. Let me bring up the 7.53 times 24. It'd be 180 billion. $180 billion market cap. What did Tesla pay? Or what did Musk pay for Twitter? It was like 40 billion, right? I mean, it's crazy to think that the valuation of Truth Social or Trump Media is $7.5 billion, and very few people are using it. Not very few. I mean, 500,000's a bunch, right? That's certainly a lot of people. But when you've got millions and millions of people using Twitter, to me, that's where the value is at. And I've read headlines, I'm sure some of you guys have as well, that said, Twitter's failing, it's falling apart. I personally think Twitter is better than it's ever been. I've been using Gronk as well, and if you guys have used Gronk, pretty fantastic. Anyway, we have digressed. I'm going to leave you with one piece here, and then I'll kind of wrap up the show for today. Will people be able to recover their Bitcoin with quantum computers? No. So here's the thing. You can target an address, and your odds of brute force entering that are just, the number is so large it's impossible. Now what Lang is thinking is, well, with this new computer from Google, which is incredibly powerful, it should be able to target that address and brute force it. Still no. Data scientists have, I think that there's a thing called a qubit, which is the measurement of processing computational power for these supercomputers. And I believe it's like 130 is what Google's computer is at. And these data scientists say to brute force in a reasonable period of time, like months or a year, to brute force an address, you would need like 13 million qubits. 13 million. A qubit, thank you, qubits. So I don't think it's going to happen. And by the way, Lang, I mentioned this before, that if we start to see quantum computing accelerate in its processing power, they'll simply change the consensus algorithm and protect the network that way. So right now you have SHA-256, right? That is the encryption mechanism, SHA-256. They'll simply change it to SHA-512, just like they do with USB thumb drives, right? Remember we went from 512 to 1028 or 1024 and so on and so on. They'll just double it and double it and double it and double it. My thoughts on the government shutdown. Let me do a poll here real quick. I wasn't going to do this, but now we will. I'm just curious what you think. Will we have a... My spelling is off. A shirt down? Woo! That's not a... And I got to spell government right. Man, my spelling is all off today. Sorry about that. I'm just going to put this one right there. Here's your poll. Will we have a government shutdown? Simple yes or no. And again, doesn't really matter. Just curious what you think. I'll give you my vote here in just a second. We are coming up. We're approaching a deadline fairly quickly. We will know as of midnight whether we go into a government shutdown. Margaret says it will pass tonight. They were talking about taking votes. I saw one politician who, Lisa, good point, said, who cares? I do care. I personally would much rather see them shut down. And one politician, I can't remember his name, said what we need to do is take this bill apart and take all of each individual spending piece and vote on that individually as opposed to lumping everything in one bill. Because if you take 500 different, spending points and put it all into one bill, out of those 500, every single one of us is going to agree on some things and disagree on some things. There's no way everybody will agree that all 500 should pass. So let's take them out one by one. I don't understand why. And in our electronic age, they should literally have a monitor and say, what do we all think on this one? And make your vote heard. Because I just think that'd be a much more effective way to do it. But they abandoned Trump's plan. Hopefully they cut the pork, but keep the government open. What's going to happen is most of the government will still function. There's just some things that will slow down. I'm waiting for more people to vote here on this. I know the poll, I want to wrap up here before the end of the hour, but all right, I'll just go ahead and end it right now. Only 22 votes? Come on. All right, I'm ending it. So 59% of you said yes. I'm in the camp of yes. I think they'll kick the can down the road, so basically they won't come to an agreement on this, so it'll be kind of some kind of shutdown. You can blame your mom on that one, John. Just passed a resolution to keep the government open, everything else. Oh, so basically a stopgap. There you go. Well, so we've accomplished nothing. At what point do the citizens revolt? At what point do we all just storm the Capitol and be like, this is some BS. You guys need to do your freaking jobs, period. And I totally agree with what Margaret says there. Wasn't Margaret, it was Lisa. It's this, I wouldn't mind a shutdown. It's just ridiculous. All the added, I'll sign this if you give me something. Right. Can we all just say this is better for the country? I wish I could run for government. I just don't have a law degree. And I can't be president. Let our grandchildren solve the budget debt. Pretty much. And that shouldn't be the case. We all suffer for it. I mean, we certainly get some benefits for this spending, but it would be great if we could just do your job. It's what we voted them in to do certain things. Get it done. Just do your job. Incompetence at a colossal level. All right, for next week, I'm not going to be here. I'm going to be all over the place. I'm going to be in Northern California for most of it, so I will not be doing a show next week. Apologize, but I hope you all have a fantastic holiday. Do something fun and exciting. From a news perspective, guys, we've got nothing next week. There's really almost nothing that's really important. I think you have like new home sales. There's some minor economic pieces of data. So no big deals. They're going to really move it. Plus, remember, you've got Christmas Day closed. You got a half day as well. So be careful out there. It can be very liquid. I hope that you guys sold some puts today because basically you're getting, for the next 7 days, you're getting 3.5 days worth of closure where the market's not doing anything. That's all time decay for free. So it should be a good time. And we'll update you on Friday. I'll probably continue to sell those weeklies and see what happens on that MicroStrategy and see how that trade all pans out for me. But that's good. Let's see. No show. Steve, I can give you the login. You can host the show, right? You can host the show for me. I will travel safely. Yeah, and again, thank you guys so much. We're not done for the year. I will be back the week after, so let me just see here real quick so we can get a better idea of what's going on. I think so I'll be back. I'm going to be back here Saturday, which means we'll have the 30th and 31st to do our yearly wrap-up show. And then on the 1st, 2nd, somewhere in there, actually the 1st, I'll probably do a show on trading results for the year. It depends how much time I have. I'm going to be in North Carolina the 2nd and 3rd teaching a class for another company. So I'm going to be gone the 2nd and 3rd as well. I'll be back on the 6th. I should be able to do a show the morning of the 6th. Anyway. So early January, you'll announce the winner of the... Yes, I will. I'll actually announce that on January 1st. I may actually announce it. No, actually, the market will be closed on Tuesday. I'll let you know on Tuesday. Tuesday the 31st, we will know who the winner is of our coveted Trader Merlin shot glasses, which Michael made for me. Thank you so much for the shot glasses. I always shout out for those. It's funny, I have a few of them on my counter, and we had some friends over the other day, and we all took a shot before we went to go see a concert, and I busted out the Trader Merlin shot glasses. Everyone loved that one. I need to go over the Excel spreadsheet with everyone's thoughts on ES. Well, I'm not going over it. I'll go over that on the 2nd, right? The 31st of December, I'll go over that spreadsheet, and we'll announce our winner there, so... Hopefully you'll be joining us. It's going to be pretty close. All right, everybody, that's going to do it for me. Thank you so much. I hope you have a fantastic holiday season, whatever your beliefs are. Things slow down, markets get quiet. Time to shy away from a little bit. To me, the last couple weeks of the year are usually a no trade type of environment, although I've been trading more the past couple years using options. So keep it safe, do something fun, be with your family and friends. I wish you all the best, and I will see you guys on the 30th. Take care, everybody.